sho Sanji Chedang Soji Chonon La Chancho Bardu Dami Kyabsun Dagi Chushi Jibin Sonunji Jolan Penshe Sanji Dubara Sho Sanji Chedang Soji Chonon La Chancho Bardu Dami Kyabsun Dagi Chushi Jibin Sonunji Jolan Penshe Dubara Sho 강기 투진이 좀에 따와 담지 밤비처럼 담비춘 된제 거듭 결라 창세로 Good evening, everybody. 아니 thinking, 참을로야 참리유스.
Welcome to all our viewers and listeners. Good evening.
Welcome. 안 됨 저들이랑 저 안디다 다 가진 안쪽에 고치주 냈더니 다 걔는 남바기 저 마음부지 패면서 한 뒤돌아야지 가서다 아니 랜드브로 지는 아니 가진 안다 두스러 나러 왔어.
So good evening, everyone. We started a teaching in the previous week. We started a Thursday evening teachings. And in the course of the teachings, quite a few people from home have submitted questions through the chat box. So we had the opportunity to spend some time doing some discussion. And we will continue with the teachings today. So just before we continue, just a second. Just before we continue, you also have the option of raising up your hand on Zoom, and if you want to ask your question verbally rather than typing something, then you can also do that. We will hear your questions, and also the rest of the people at home will be hearing your questions, so we can also do it like that. Anyway, let's continue with the teaching.
The 주로디 가르슈지 체르스 나와나 아니 당간주 란신링기 셈레 요비 지 대번대보다 동안 문제비 삼로디기 다 시마로 디렌도 아스틴자 아니 되기기 대와디 간르스 주고 예메다 아니 문제기 동안디 간르스 세고 예메 돌아야 안 당간주래야 탑시지 고고라스 라 당고르 제 세나 조 디차기둘라 아니 간주지 좀이야 고된 힘보로 돼야 아니 소수 데비기 텐디 주비야기 탑시 가리임에 문데비 아니 텐디 세기 탑시 가리임바디 다디 원트고야디 당한줄 개체주 찍차기도 왔으라.
Well, we said previously with respect to the thing that we want, the thing that we seek, is that we all want to be happy and no sentient being wants to suffer. By the way, before I continue with that, we bought a new mic and we're trying to set it up. So we're trying different things. Currently, there is a bit of an echo, but it will hopefully get sorted soon. Just a second. So we start off with recognizing that all of us want to be happy and no sentient being wants to suffer. This is something that naturally we have. It is a basic wish that all of us have. So what we need to look at is how do we make that happen? What is the, in what way do we accomplish our own happiness? And what is the method for dispelling the suffering that we experience? This is basically the nature or the essence of the meetings that we have here. This is what we discuss. We discuss the methods for cultivating the happiness that we seek and dispelling the suffering that we do not seek.
난다 로고라스라 탑시 빼나다 디기 용약이 탑시 찍려야 문제 지는더니 칼레지암네 드브데야 rigmambu요레 동하세기 탑시 찍려야 문제 지지니 아니 칼레지암네 베준 제대다 용구여러스 이내 디 다가랑기 만줄래야 대와 드브 투그르베 투구여르베 동하세 투구여르베슬라나 다 만슈질래야 드세 투구여 말아왔어 동아 세투기요 말이 내가 루투기요 말았어. 근데 가르레세 저지 땅안 줄라이다 용고라 용구여라서.
So we all attempting to accomplish our own happiness. We all trying to dispel our own suffering. And there are different things that we recognize as states of happiness or states of suffering. We recognize, for example, that a particular thing is for us pleasurable or happiness, and we try to cultivate that, to get that. We recognize that something else for us is suffering, and we are attempting to remove that, to dispel that. And we're working hard, we're making effort in order to make that happen. So the question is, do we get what we want? Do we get what we seek? Do we get the happiness that we seek? Can we dispel the suffering that we do not want?
다디 아니 저들래 온디 디 랜다마스나야 다디 카투그레스 카르체레스 라온디 난주 대와 누구여다이냐 대와 컨트레션 누구여메 기 대와 문 진당 톨이야 아니 농주 직셔로요와 라 동아세 누구어다이냐 세기 동아 문 진당 톨이야 아니 따다지 문진 마투비 아니 농주 니라 때니 때니 따단 되는 주투고 메바직다 다피시 용거레스라 디 용거레스
So the question is, what do we rely upon in seeking the happiness that we want and trying to or attempting to dispel the suffering that we do not want? How do we go about and do that? Well, to begin with respect to the happiness that we seek, in what way are we trying to accomplish our own happiness? And anyway, in what way do we identify our happiness? What is happiness for us? And similarly, if we're attempting to dispel suffering, then we need to ask ourselves, what does suffering mean to us? Can we identify that precisely? Because often what happens is that we are completely confused. We make mistakes with respect to identifying what happiness is or what suffering is. And this is the reason for not getting what we want, because we do not identify precisely what happiness is and what suffering is. We end up not getting what we want.
다지 간주 망체지기 디길에 문진 체대야겠다 라 디길에 문진 체대 rig마무 쇼지 기 간주에 디기 준 투메바 디기 트 투메바 데 간주도스바 무유 니츠레야 냠슈 체와이나 아니 간주 냠슈 체 투고도 왔어 라 베나 간주 칼라도 지기나 칼라 리카임바디 간주 디기 용약이 차진질이야 문제 지거로스 대나신기 다지 아니 롱주 컨트진바이나 아주 디기 용약 지기라 문제 지지네 아니 롱주 주비약 체도 아니 뒤서 땅양 조송 땅양 깔리게라서 배 마무 지거로스 이네 대zam기 간줄이야 디기 용 투거로스나 싸우니니 용 투문다스라.
So for example, most of us are looking for happiness and suffering, and there are many different things, a great variety of things that make us happy, that contribute to our happiness and well-being. But do we get all of them? Do we enjoy all the different types of happiness and well-being? We invest a lot of time in cultivating the things that we think are going to make us happy or contribute to well-being, and do we get what we want at the end of the day? So for example, looking at the things that we do invest time in. Even as when we look at simple things like food. So food should contribute to our happiness and well-being, right? So either the food that we eat or the resources that we use, the resources that we enjoy, we try to identify those things that contribute to our happiness and well-being, and we spend money in order to get them. We spend time in order to get them. We work hard. We endure different difficulties in order to enjoy them. But is it enough just by having those things to make us happy? Is that alone enough for happiness and well-being? It is not, is it?
Je pena da duzu chitangi ji ta thamo sida ke remondos ine yang anzu ta chi samlo madandi en digi en chok tharan la ya anchi susu gi lunga yiksum di ani chok tharan la ya tanchi ni ani duzu ke de chi ten da ani chamandi wa yong de chi semla yang amda yong de chi samlo en dindi chi tone manche legido asra penanga zutaji ani suzuki buyoya mitsi kibuyoya chedo ta samada relagu medina pena sasandro chindeya dia mitsi kibuyoya che degoros ina ditole nyokta peyungodos ro minni nyam zamse jelaya kadina ji ji yungodos ta ji chamadwaji.
So for example, when we look at different examples, and those examples are not too subtle, we can understand the way that it works. We have a certain idea of the things that make us happy, that contribute to our happiness and well-being. And we point to the direction of happiness and well-being. We choose a direction to go with our actions of body, speech, and mind. And we seek our happiness and well-being in different ways. And still, when we become so one-sided or kind of turn only to one direction and try to accomplish our happiness with our actions of body, speech, and mind in that direction, we can see that there's always something that is not quite right for us. We become anxious. We have certain expectations or hopes, and we become anxious when things do not work for us in the way that we expect them to. It happens to us, doesn't it? It happens to all of us. We want to enjoy our life. We want to have a happy life. And we have certain ideas that if only we're going to get a particular thing, that's going to make us happy, at least in this life. Like, for example, often we think that having a relationship will make us happy. But as it happens, when you have two people together, if you have a relationship of two people, inevitably, there would be something that is not quite right. Not always things are going to work for us perfectly. It happens, doesn't it? There's always something that is not quite right once you have two people meeting together.
Dinza ta di ene di kyendo chik shorsa zo di kansana nganzu mixa dia chik kipu devus lawondi zo di chite che de chik ene nganzu la lunga yiksu yebinani zo ludi imbi ki soroji ra chedanda ngadiwo yongo du ngakibu chona samgor de ine ya 비 nga samsagi ani shidawadi ani zu rangi luche chedo chedo kal khazu sigyavna ya ani bezu khar chebayna ya zu di anzu du samdawayna zu di ani longje dubya chedo redos ro pena ne khangso ya dawada ji ani chukor modala soba ji 제하다 다 간지 딘디를 칼라사야도 동야도 다 딘디 때문에 다 지금 여러 다 지금 미 롱주 제하라서 딘디도 지 간지 아니 류기 류츠지 송야기 아니 자긴 찍부지 털어야 안 소줄lunga 이섬데 초 딘디질이야 땅디기 유비기 아니 소리 좀 도왔다 로
So then we'll look at how we become one-sided with respect to the efforts that we put in trying to nourish or to cultivate the happiness that we seek. We can see that, for example, in order to be happy, we do that through cherishing ourselves in mainly focusing on physical activities or trying to accomplish our own happiness and well-being through mainly taking care of the physical aspect. But so no, we want to be happy, but really when we look at the things that we do, we can see how by and large, our actions are oriented towards things on a physical level. And we make a lot of effort in trying to secure those physical things. We go through different hardships. We work hard in being so single-minded or working only in one direction, in trying to accomplish our own happiness as far as things that are related to the physical level. So looking at the resources that we are trying to use, like for example, our houses, different technologies that we use, our cars, foods, drinks, movies or shows that we watch, things that kind of we try to enjoy some visual forms. All those different things are mainly oriented towards the physical level. Yeah, we want to be happy, and yet when we look at the activities that we take in order to bring about that happiness, we can see how we are working in one direction and mainly being invested on the physical level. Our activities are, activities of body, speech, and mind, and yet we can see that it's so far as pursuing our own happiness, by and large, our attention of focus is placed on the physical level.
Di tola yang samloji tambaina nganzu lunga yik sungu nang zu cheshu di lu reves lavaina di ani lu reves lavaina mancha jigi zu cheshu lu res sendoko marwas lu reyo marwas ra ine ona nganzu ge zu cheshu di lunga yik sungu nang zu lu maina ani nganzu mang cheshu di ani düzu di lu chedo karjin tangores 근데 로 내가 든지 베나 아니 토탈리 제초고도 왔어 로
So then in looking at our body, speech, and mind and wondering if that's the main thing that is important to us, is our body the main thing that is important to us? Not really, is it? It's not that of the body, speech, and mind, the main thing, the principal thing is the mind, and yet when we look at our activities, we can see how most of the time our activities are oriented towards the physical level. So why do we do that? Why do we pay so much attention to the body? We can think about it, don't we? Can't we?
다 루티 조 많이 봐 가르스나 nganzu luti lu penata lu 양라 아니 지 고다 락바다 강발라 소바티 lu chashi imba na shinji ro pena lagbadi lu zo marwas ro kambadi lu zo marwas tichidi yanla nga dia lu zo chagmudos en lu yanla imba na shinji en lu dia nganzu gi chashi soso rangi ro ani nga nyamsa ngadi gi ani chashi ji remado di gi zo remodos ro.
So then when we think about it, is my body the primary thing? Our body is not the primary thing. When we look at the body, just in order to illustrate that, the body has different parts, different limbs. The members of the body are the head, the different limbs, the arms, the legs, and so forth. So when we look at the different parts of the body, the members of the body, like for example, the hands, are the hands the principal thing in our body? Are the legs the principal things in our body? They're not the principal things, they are parts of the body, but they're not the principal thing. So in the same manner, you can say that the body belongs to I. So there's the notion of me, the notion of I. Is the body the primary thing within the notion of I? It is not, it is part of the I, but it is not the principal thing.
신기해. 어나? 다 릉아 익성고 난게 다지 네 숨자로 간주기 차시지레마도 간주 다 조레면도 알아오지. 라 니고 제와 용초거다. 딘디 간주 상무다나 디파랄이야 간주 지 rigpa nye chik ro riglam nye chik yores pana sem de zo mare nga de zo mare lu de zo mare 참마 동발할 때니 간주 주비요로 왔을라나 오늘에 참마 동발 때는 간주 주비요레스 이내다 류츠 많이 신도 류츠 많이 신도 간주 류츠 류치테 지야기 체도 뒤주 땅 샤바이나 간주 강가 가르친 최고레스 로 간주 강가 가르친 최고레스 야기 다 디어디에 요레스
So when you think about it, it is like that. Now, likewise, when you think of this, the body, speech, and mind that we have, and we can say that the body, speech, and mind that we have are parts of I, parts of me. And we can say that also none of them is primary, and yet when we look at activities, we can see how activities by and large are focused on the body, as if the body is primary, although it is not the main thing. It makes sense when you approach it like that with logical means, right? It makes sense to look at it like that, to see how body, speech, and mind, those three, are parts of me, parts of I, but each and every one of them is not the primary thing. So then the next question is, why then do we cherish the body in taking it to be the main thing, the primary thing? Why does it happen? And what's the problem with that?
예, 나디 가르스나 간주 류디 가주스기 류체테 체바 디츠기 아니 류디 야르 베디 야길은 타메반 줘야지 딘디지 레베스나 사원이니 말와스 디마인자 간주기 제당 디다 레와 야베 디다 피기 류 네다 님부디 카투그 메바인자 간줄이야 강아 최고레스 들어 디러다
Well, when we think of the body, the thing that we cherish so much, can the body be improved limitlessly? Can we, if we take care of the body, if we cherish it so much and care for it, can it be improved without limits? It cannot, right? So then we have this discordancy between what we hope, what we wish for, and what happens in actuality. Those two things are not in accordance.
딜이야 지당한 루체트 지고고르데이냐 지 콜라야 최도직 로 렘부직 토네 샤바이나 아니 텔레파비기 아니 가서 지 세메비기 아니 쿠톨라야 베준치 온디 아니 강가 침부 테데기가 봐로 콜라야 렘부직 토네 샤바이나 아니 강가 용조기가 봐디야 가서 그 내룩도 차기도 왔어.
Therefore, we do need to care for the body, but we need to do it to an adequate manner or to an adequate level. Rather than thinking that if we take care of the body, it can be improved limitlessly, we recognize that it is not a limitless improvement or development of our body. That's not possible. There is a limit to what we can do. So our actions are done to a certain axis. We take care of the body to the degree that we need to do so, but don't have an expectation for it to be improved limitlessly. So this is what we want to do, to take care of it, but just in an adequate sense.
아니 쳔메비 야기드라지 자원이니 메바스 로 가주스기 비글이야 콜이야 아니 류기 송집치 류 송집치야겠다 민타샤비게 아니 치치응오버 칸르치 드바이네야 먼저 류디 마냠드라지 마도 메바디 먼저다 뇽이 통대야 들어왔어 응었음 통대야 들어왔어 로
So temporarily, we can do certain things that do take care of the body. And we can also say that we can improve the body over the span of a few months or over a span of a few years. Yeah, we can improve the body to a certain degree, but ultimately, the body is not going to be improved limitlessly. We know that ultimately, at the end, the body will decline. There's no way of avoiding that. The body will decline. And everyone knows that. So therefore, when we think of protecting the body, caring for the body, protecting the body, as being a functioning thing, we know that the nature of it at the end is to decline. We can see that evidently.
Tinza tanganzu lugu nedang tidang, ani kali gaya tseji nimbodi, ani nyamgumandos, ra, nganzu ta mashibe wangita di nyamgumandos. Tinza nganzu la ya ti parani, ya nganzu kanga chimbu chik chedigdos, ra.
And therefore, this is the way it is, the degree of effort that we put into caring for the body. And the way that it is are not in accordance. There is a mismatch between the reality of the body and how much we care for it. And because of that, we experience problems.
That dini, da semla ya chikbareves lavna. Ta chikba chago mares. Ra, nganzu sem yagi tanya gichedo, nganzu sem yagi tanya gichedo, dinti ge tuzu tanya re, kali gyavya re, ani chik drosong tanya re, dinti da mang shu jiki, mang che shu jiki, chigiyo marvas.
And what about our mind? Do we take care of the mind to the same degree? We don't, do we? So what about improving our mind? Do we spend enough time in improving our mind? Do we work hard in order to make that happen? If there are expenses to be incurred along the way, are we willing to put those expenses to spend some time and money in order to do that? To the same degree that we care for the body. We don't we?
Sem kharso sem songyub chedo ani kale magyewa mase sem di lu chi kharso sem di lu yokbo soro chechin ro lu shaman pa tangchi ani lu chedo pa tang roj lu jesu pa roj tang shago ros ro.
Not only we do not work hard in order to protect the mind, in some sense, when we look at our priorities, we can see how often our priorities are back to front. It's more like we take the mind to be the servant of the body. Whatever we do on the mental level, sometimes it seems as if kind of the mind is that which follows the body, it is there in order to serve the body. This is our attitude, and yet this is totally incorrect.
Radinza sem di lugi pa chedroje patangsha di lulaya pigi tamandiba kadu leva di tsugi ani sem magiba yongde roji. Ra nganzu pena soso chik pigi la ya chik ani shenja chesa chik ra pena ta pugu putu drawa ta chik ani nyen de la soba dindi chish ani shenja kazu chimbu yoba di tsugi ani pasho ma tamandiba chawondi ani sosu sem ranshing magiba chayachi yungudo asra kazu ki chawa chimbuyo di tsugi ani chaksi yuldi tramantik di ani nganzu semla ya magiba ro ani dunga yongde di ta nganzu nyoyo chogo ras ro.
So we can see how when we have that approach where we think, when we behave or think that the mind is under the control of body, in a sense that it is a servant of the body, it is there to service the body, things do not work in the way that we expect them to. We work hard in order to get a particular thing, and when things do not work out for us, at least on a physical level, we become unhappy, we become disturbed. And to the degree, to the strength of, or to the force of our attachment and clinging and so forth, we commensurate with that, we experience sufferings and problems. So we can say that, for example, the attachment and the clinging that we have in our relationships with those who are close to our heart, with our family members, with our children or other relatives, with those who are close to us. If you have those relationships that are based on attachment, that are based on clinging, then when something doesn't work out well for those who are close to your heart, your mind becomes full of anguish. It is unhappy. We can see that, right?
Dire dinza ta nganzugi sem lu just tanshadi lu korangi chik ranshen rodi ko ma khop royagi ro dur royagi nedanji modo ko medi ko dur rondi ranshen gi sem di magi bachade o dindiji yungu yanza ani nganzu sem dawo gyabdan di mancheji ro mancheji nordus ro sem di lu nanshen remadus sem ya dawo gyab sem yagi tawayna yagi tameban royagi ranshin di ani nganzugi yagi mata yagi roya megyo chila ya rewa gyabchin ko yonyak chedo nganzu tuzu tangjawndi nganzu tuzu tangdan di samlo tangdan di bet norshas taro bet norshas tadi.
Well, we have that idea that the body is secondary to the mind. Sorry, the other way around. That the mind is secondary to the body. At the end, the body will decline. It will fall apart, and the mind will be made unhappy. So there is a mistake in our priorities. So there is something that can be developed in a limited way to a certain limit, and there's something that can be developed limitlessly. The mind can be developed limitlessly. We can protect the mind and we can care for it. We can develop it without any limits, without any borders. And yet, we have that expectation that, or we wish to take care of the body, to develop the body in an unlimited way, and we don't really take care of the mind. The mind can be developed limitlessly, but we don't take care of it. So this is a mistake, isn't it?
자원 노르주지 제바이나 아니 줌리디 아니 소소삼바 나신지 다 탱고 말아왔어. 딘자 땅안 주기 아니 로 남규기 삼당당 남규기 제단디 아니 라진 링기기 비 문데 디 아니 잠가 차드샤스 잠가 차드샤스 딘자 안주 디 징 교즈타 마투 파르도 테니 안주 데바나신기 데든 조야디 다카고 슈치기 디레샤스로.
And therefore, there is a discrepancy between what we want and what we get. There's a discrepancy because of the mistakes that we make along the way. And so long as we continue with that approach for that long, we will not get the happiness that we seek.
야 아니 지다 르가 이숨 난기다 쭈다 르데 단 셈디 니그나니 만준 되규 데와 쭈디 데와 야슈디 아니 셈데레야 샤고도스 셈데티 문제 치투고도스 르기 네거그 르기 다지 아니 디지참 디기 난줄이야 디지치 아니 찬상와지 로 템부지 제투문도스.
So then looking at the happiness that we seek and looking at our body, speech, and mind, perfect happiness can be accomplished in our mind. Perfect happiness and well-being, the best type, can be attained on a mental level, not on a physical level.
아니 류기 대기기 가서다 류기 대기 용약이 따지 차게만 채워지기 아니 류라야 동화 용약이 규런 로데바다 아니 빼먹어도 왔어 아니 류기 대와디 류기 또브로디 아니 지금 디기 또 침무지 다 멤버디 ngazu samdawena rathugdo asra tapenata 지금 무슨 친중 지기 ngazu lu 아니 지 추적 하시나mol야 베디 아니 냠자 땅자 소바 로 쳬변도야 소바 용도서 다 드텐소르 아 디초기 아니 ngazu 루디 좀 투적도스다 디초기 ngazu에 둥아 베디 아니 슈침부 슈치 제 투적도스 딘자 ngazu 루들야 아니 자위기 직또 매바 디나니 베디 아니 코란 규비 ranjinjimba 대한지 아니 규르니고 지 야긴로에 유진하던 디워드인 디야 아니 마 컨트롤이 딘지시 로 딘지지 손자 아니 디루 데와디 만졸이야 안 데와 슈크쳔보지단 데와 템부치 야지자담 트레투금도스
So we provide the body with different things in order to get some happiness and well-being. And yet the conditions that we provide the body with are also conditions for sufferings, because in certain situations, even though those conditions are expected to give us happiness or well-being, we can see how they bring about suffering. We can see that, right? It also indicates to us that the body is not strong. Not only that, when we think of the things that do affect the body, like think about viruses or sickness, some things enter our body. They can be so small, minute, they cannot be seen by the naked eyes. And just within a few hours, you get sick, even to the point in which just within a few hours, you can drop dead. So that's an indication of how the body is not strong at all. We have that idea that there's something solid within the body, but this is certainly not the case. This is the nature of the body. The body is within the nature of suffering.
Rotadita, Manzuji, and some manchek shingrosra, and a lug digi pila, lude, chagin kazus yobainea, and chagin kazus yobainea, sem kibumena, and on the kibu de tumundas. We was pen touching on the and Kambata, Mortala Soba, Penjola Soba, the Zutachi, Ludevi, Chagi, Yanamenachik Rasta, Yanamenachik Rast, the Katsus Yobainea, T. Nangla, T. Dabu, Medozolia, and T. took Digishu Chimuji, Yontu or Slana, the Kab Golda, Yungordania, Manchialia, Namdata, and then Dansam da, Taji, and this song of Chimatuya, Dungala Sob, Tendikangi, and Mizik. We
all know that. We all recognize that. Like, for example, thinking of the things that do contribute to our physical pleasure, to physical happiness and well-being. We do expect certain things to make us happy, and they do make us happy for a certain duration. We, for example, we spend time, for example, in expecting that our house or a car will make us happy, and they do provide us with some degree of happiness or well-being. But can they give us this really strong, powerful happiness and well-being that will last for a very long time? We can see that there is no guarantee that that will happen, because in certain situations, even if we have all those different things, our mind is still anxious, or we become competitive with others, or we go through the problems, the difficulties of having to protect, to guard the things that belong to us. And in that process, there is not that full best happiness and well-being that we experience. We know that, don't we?
Sem dago yabchin, sem yagi tanya tolaya, and local chochin, tuzu tan robaina, and sem di big carso tajik, and sem layata rig mambuyavan, so sem shinjloka rig cholaya, and matawanchi, and sem dago yagi tolaya, bezun chitubaina, 가주 치바 디 츠기 아니 샘드 사르사르 아니 푸타르타르 조그레스 송요레스 디 조고레스 라
So now we want to change our priorities. We want to take care of the mind. We want to improve the mind. And there are different types of minds. There are different states of mind. So basically what we want to do is we want to make amendments. There are states of mind that are in error, erroneous states of mind. We want to correct our mind. We want to improve our mind. We want to make the mind clearer and clearer. We want to make the mind better and better. This is how we take care of the mind.
라다 샘야기 땅야기 약슈디 샘피기라야지 차담 몬송기 온도 마당와 라 아니 무윤네춘 비기라야 심주치야기 따 남주저러스 디 아니 야기 땅야기 돌아야 베즈치바이나 아니 무윤네춘 통투고다스 라 무윤네추 가주순 통투바 티츠기 아니 페나 티츠기 아니 찬디바치 무유 내수 돈은 로투게지 연구하러 왔어.
So how do we improve the mind? Well, we improve the mind through ensuring that the mind does not fall under the control of afflictive states of mind, of anger, attachment, and ignorance. We take care of the mind in making sure that it is in line with reality, that we develop that intelligence that investigates reality and come to see what is real, the way that things exist in a correct way. And to the degree that we are able to do that, to that degree, we'll be able to make sure that things do work out for us.
이 난주지 변하다지 아니 샘 종약치 라 지변 로종도 다 아니 어딘지 제거 잠발다 두종 거사레 삼성도다 다디지 아니 지 제라 제거 삼성도 두스 파 유야지 마도 베티 단다랑이 지 제긴 삼비게 공고츠 투야디 만주 샘나라 숑구문다스 다디로 디지 갑두델레요 고 깔레소르 지여자 딘디기 동아춘준질이야 아니 마스니 아니 다 무연네슬라 간지 탈도나 무연네슬라야 만주 이어드 대소르 차그도스 디타 농주체슈직.
So for example, we might be thinking that though I need to train the mind to do some lojong practice of training the mind, it will take some time. No, I don't have the time now, I'll do it later. So that procrastination is a mistake. This is not the way to go about it. If you think that I can do it later on, it will mean that you will never have your priorities spot on. And if your priorities are not spot on, it means that you will not be able to deal with certain situations when trivial suffering will arise for you. If you haven't trained your mind properly, you'll not be able to bear the trivial suffering.
라다디 아니 무연네슬라야 아니 지 가서다 피게 롱주드야다 샘종 제니버디 샘라야 종더 제니버디 무연네슬라야 샘라 종더 제야디 개치슈 차대고 여발라 먼저 개치슈디 파샤니 개총한디 당부지디 소리지 미차고도스 이러 지단기 내가 가리네 개치슈디 당부치고 그러스 개체슈 당부치고 그래 개체슈 들려야 매주 만슈 치고 그러스 이내 가서 디치기요 말스 디 마치디 간줄이야 란싱기 아니 경라 돼야지 로 강가스는 다 경라 돼야지 용도 왔으라.
So we have two things here that we can compare. On one hand, we have resources. On the other hand, we have mind training. So which of the two is more important in reality? More important is training our mind. And yet, when we look at the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, we see how we neglect our mind training and we focus on our resources. So though a mental training, mind training is the most important thing, we still make mistakes in our priorities. And since we have those mistakes at the end, we become defeated, we are on the losing side, we get problems and difficulties.
아니 디게 안 파르투게 케벤다 아니치 랭니 딥코 야부중 문즈 마투디 네급 기치 아니 케벤 따데야게 케벤기 민 따데야 디톨야다 지 아니 드로샤고라스 로 마동원이 지나 간주 아니 샘 조인트 수수 로 조인디 아니 개체슈 로 미치 디나노라야 지금 간줄이야 아니 고급 약수디 또 그 참에 발랑이가 같이 송고레스 개와 참메비 나노라야 단에 간주기 미 개발람비 까려야 또 고급 약수디 카리어스 라운디 아니 산기기 랍지 나노라야 샘종치야디 로종치야기 누바 믹스와지 밀려요바디 디 고급디 담진 치진 로종치고 도스 라 어디리
So when we think about how we work as human beings, most people cannot really have a precise appreciation of what's really important. What's the best profit that they could get in a certain process? What is the best thing that they can do in their life? So rather than being able to identify precisely what's going to secure the best benefit, the best profit for them, they focus on things such as having a good reputation and the like. But really, when you think of what's going to be the most important thing that you can do with your life, the most important thing that you can do with your life is mind training. After all, when we look at that from a Buddhist perspective, we've already been through countless rebirths. And it is said that though we've been through countless rebirths, the best type of rebirth that you can have is a rebirth of a human being. And the Buddha said that the best type of rebirth that you can take is of a human being, because being a human being, you can train your mind. You can study how to train your mind and then put it into practice.
nganzugi milaya anchi ane socha shenla maybe mi tumo maimbi ane mixe kechu kangyo ba di nganzu shimju chigo zoji tiredas mi kechu tumo maimba kangyo ba di niba di ta ane sosozola niba tumo maimbi ji yoba di nganzu tenyati ro di ta 아니 메세디기 인부 쪼데 디인사레스
We as human beings have some feature, a quality that is unique. When we compare it to other living beings, we can see how there's something different about us as human beings. And the thing that is different is the potential that we have, that unique potential to train our mind. So recognizing that this is the unique potential that we have as human beings, we want to make the most out of it. And if you make the most out of it, it means that you extract the essence of this life.
제디 카리어스는 간주 밀이야 아니 이게 즉 초홍기 왕도 마송와 무의 내수 아니 따투야 무의 내수 셰투야 무의 내수 돌아야 로투게지 장부를 람 돌아야 로투야기 네바치 간줄에 요레스 통마이 바치 다디 때야디 아니 소수 라발에 요르마도 예수 관계 수 관계 라발문도 왔으라 다디 직된 투바이나 디 소소라야 펜바 밀라야 펜바 탐젤레 펜바디 펜디 자와디 어디레도 왔으라 당간주 디 니바디 아니 소소라 예비 니바디 다 못자원이 마게와치 치당기 탐제의 협의기 차단기 상황도 좋지네. 아니 랑겔 셴파미하게 싸움도 딘디지 톤 내가 지는 로데디 돈로 숨질에는 여러 왔어. 디 쇼지기 게 아니 물도 템바도지 개바도 파바도지 기레모도 왔어.
We have that potential as human beings, and yet if we do not use this potential in whatever we practice, in the way that we speak, in the way that we proceed with the things that we need to do, if we don't use our ability or potential in that way, if we get still involved in some actions that are not fully utilizing the potential that we have, it is a waste. So we have the ability to do that. It is in our own hands. We have the ability to take actions that are benefiting ourselves, that are benefiting others. We have the ability to do that, and yet if we do not nourish that ability, if we still give way to anger, attachment, ignorance, take up actions that are attempting to get our own victory, even if it comes at the expense of others, at the defeat of others, what difference then will there be between us as human beings and other life forms like insects and so forth? It would be pretty much the same, wouldn't it?
Nibadi ngansu chikbure dos ra chidangi chik chadangda chik ani mathangi gi ani samlu thoni ani chik yora ta chawa chedya chik lega chedya di ani thonru sumjeina lab thugdos labgoras konz lab thugdos ra ini di mahimba ngansu sanchomde de kharsongre chambu lamne chambu kombanyes ra chambu changjanji thoni drobaina chambu changjanji sallegres disonrada.
We as human beings have this intelligence that enables us to well distinguish between the positive and the negative. And yet, if we do not make use of this potential, of this intelligence, if we still give way to anger, attachment, and so forth, as we said, we'll be partial, and also animals can do that. Without having to be taught how to do that, animals are also behaving in a way that is partial. The Buddha said that an honest path will lead to an honest state. So if we take up a path that is an honest path, the state that we will attain, the level that we will get, will also accord with that.
Dinza ani chomden di karsota nganzula ma khonangi chambu khongpan ni shawadi ro ani tartuki ani tentambi devi khongpan ni shawadi igi lamlaya nganzuta khonangi nibi khongpan digi salaya chiyagi tab yakshu di nganzula nguyo nezu tenyandi mado shemba kayamando as khonangi nguyo nezu sikchini chambu khongpan ni shawadi tablamdi nguyo nezu tayadirendo asra nganzu nguyo nezu janyati kanji nganzu la dewa yakpo jikona nganzu nguyo nezu tatuko gores nganzu dunga se goyo na nganzu nguyo nezu tatuko gores yug nilu pige yug jik yinlu di yotsul ngoma kanyinba di nganzu ngunzen chitubayi na yinlu kanyinba di ngunzen chitubayi na ane nganzu dödön takda chin druptugechi dunga takda se tugechi da di gyacha gyadama yungo res ro.
The Buddha, the Bhagavan, taught how to attain this state of honesty, the honest level. And it is, the Buddha taught a path that can lead to that final state of happiness that can be attained. And the path that leads to that state is a path that is in line with reality. Nothing else apart from the path of reality can lead to that state. So this is an honest path. So if we want to be happy, we want to dispel all suffering, we need to do that on the basis of seeing reality the way that it is. We need to look at the way that we think and tune the way that we think in order to get an insight into reality, to understand the way that things exist and to understand what exists and the way that it exists. And if we're able to develop that insight into reality, then we will follow the path that will proceed to final happiness.
레좀는 되겠다. 뭐 domsik di tholaya di songrasra. 로이동가 차기면서 니 또버 셴라 빼면 춘이 덴바 덴비 초르키르스. 라 계란 동갈이 초르거나 계란 덴비 이람 소친. 덴비 닐루 소친. 디 토네 쇼다 안 계란 동갈이 초르마도 아니 니기 니 칼레게 베준치네 장비 공방이 샤게디 니기 계란 라발라 파체샤스키요 마르다스. 라 간지 니기 말 람된 제자교디 계란기 아니 samlotan 심주치니 아니 니바니어치 아니 디톨에 컴퓨터는 아니 계란에 연구 그랬어 딘디로지레도 아스라 좀 내가 송 딘디로지레다.
As the Buddha said, water cannot wash away your negativities. I cannot reach out and with my hand remove your suffering. I cannot transfer my realization from my mind stream to your mind stream. The only thing that I can do in order to liberate you is to teach you the truth of reality. So the Buddha has worked hard in order to attain his own level of spiritual attainment. And when we follow the path of the true path, the path of honesty, we recognize that it's not that the Buddha can give us what they have attained just because they've worked hard. Well, we can do, as the Buddha said in the last line, the only thing that I can do in order to liberate you is to teach you the truth of reality. We can train our mind in that. We can think about it. We can find certainty in that path of reality in order for us then to reach that state of happiness and well-being.
덴바송 요래라 딱 덴바랑 레와스 간스는 뺀난 간주 무유 내수 세야디 무유 내수 락바 직신바이나 무유 내수 락바 직신바이나 락바 디츠기 둥가 락바 아니 뇽드고도스 라 무유 내수기 차라 아니 무 트멜라 무 트다 만트라 데니 둥가 차라디야 점투문도디 야자야다마 디게 디토는 조그도스라.
What the Buddha said is 100% true, and you can see how it is also in reality. This is truthful. This is true. So if you're able to develop an insight into a cause level of reality, through that you'd be able to reduce a cause level of suffering, commensurate with your understanding of reality. If it is a cause level of reality or subtle level of reality, you will have the ability to remove either cause level of suffering or subtle level of suffering.
페네르와 페낭안조기 땡이마타고 배주 제대하기 칼라직 돌아 빼샤바나 먼저 칼라 님바직 라 칼라 님바직 촐란 들어와이나 대zam기 에니직 세나다 에니직 마기바디 연구마라왔어 라 칼라 싸바직 직 참아진 촐란 들어와이나 아니 디츠기 응안주 샘라야 세나다 마기바 아니 콘트로사야 아니 셴라론 대라서 더 연구도 하스라.
We can see that in different things on a daily basis. Like, for example, with the food that we eat, for example, if the food that we have grows old, right? So if you stashed out some food and it is now old, then you don't become so miserly about it, or it doesn't make you that unhappy. There is no that tight clinging that makes it difficult for you to give it to others. But if it happens with food that is rather fresh, new or fresh, you find that if something that is really fresh all of a sudden goes bad, or if you have to give it to others, if you have to rid yourself of miserliness with respect to that food, it's much harder, isn't it? You're more prone to becoming unhappy or angry about it.
아니 요부 촐라 루 요바디 만주 답에 세우쇼지 통투고라스 라 찍디 아니 찍 교림부 대학이 샘나라야 제와 축침부 주연자 찍 아니 야부 배주치 초약이 투약이 제와 축침부 주연자 딘디그레다스 간지 비기 율니가 아니 촐라 조기 요바단 교 조기 요바디 찍바 있느냐 샘근 전당그 토니 아니 지금 결혼디기 아니 샘레야 대zam기 아니 지 세나다 딤메바다 셴바든 결혼디기 대용해야디 샘근 전당그 토니 개버셔서로
The mind has different ways of apprehending phenomena, apprehending things. Like, for example, when you think of food that is old, it can go bad quite quickly. With fresh food, you have that expectation that it will remain for a long time, that you'll be able to preserve it for a long time. And yet, these two, old food or fresh food, are the same in terms of being in the nature of change. They are not things that remain forever. Both of them are changing phenomena. And yet with one, you become miserly. With one, you have that tight holding that renders you incapable of giving it away. And with the other, it doesn't happen.
rewa chusa jiyoba na, rewa chusa ji katsusuki yagbu yoba ti tsugi, ani susu lo dewa chi yungudu asa, ra.
그런 nenga kare badi ngase da go tsing do ti 그런 keshe 단디 가오도기나
아니 시에데 이게 우유네 좀 돌아 조고 단지 시고라.
세상 rewa gyasa di yagoyana yago 연결해서
샘을 진방 돌아. 수변은 지금 rewa 주사도 다 메수이나 가실라 소수 땅가라 지금 로바 야고 유에 삼성 말아 지 유에 삼성 rewa 여바이나 아니 디 저기 샘는 로데부도지 당아지 땐사 케메가 로바 지 케메 삼성도 여바이나 디 저기 샘라 야라나지 대지 용거로 와서 거다.
So Geshe said that it is often the way that your mind apprehends phenomena, the mode of apprehension of the mind, in that if you have some hopes or expectations with respect to something that is wholesome, your mind can be made happy. If the mode of apprehension of the mind is rather poor, like for example, if you think that I'm so lonely, I'm so lowly, I'm unhappy and so forth, if your hopes or expectations, if the mode of apprehension is not wholesome, it's actually negative, it will influence your mind in a certain way.
어디리다 디저 등이 갈라고 했을라나 아니 간주기 빼나 간주 단디 차려야 빼나 지금 미망부슈 지 강한 체원디 람사 지금 물론 자야도지 랑간주 물론 자사유 빼나 군조라 물론 자야 년도 진바나 람상 군조라 물론 자야디 용구도 왔어 라 간즈나 샘난 진단 가르스나 군조라 제와 자바는 같이 교부그리 삼비 제와 디엔자 간주 람상 로델에 초구도 왔어.
So for example, we experience difficulties at the moment. And often what happens to us when we experience difficulties and problems is that we make prayers. We turn, for example, in this tradition to the jewels. And we turn to the jewels, we make prayers, we make some aspirations because we think that they're going to protect us.
Tinza sem chosa di nguyu nitsula ya chotu bayna. Nguyu nitsula chotu bayna. Ani di tsugi ani nganzula ya pendo yungu dos. Tinza chomden di ge nganzu tambu lamden chingwondi ani nganzu nguyu nitsu. Pegita chomden di gita lamden tambu di nguyu nitsu ani shi nilu ani demba shi toni ma. Tangi shi tso digan le gorita.
So if we rely upon what is real, so we develop different certain states of mind, we want to rely upon something. So if we rely upon reality, we have a beneficial way to proceed. And this is what the Buddha Bhagavan taught when he taught true paths and so forth. So Geshe is linking it up with the first topic that he chose for the Thursday evening teaching. He thought of beginning with the four truths. So here, if we think of what can I rely upon? Well, if we rely upon reality, in developing paths of insight into reality, from that we're going to be benefited.
아니 동화디 송도 왔어. 만들어라. 동화 ngotwe chiade. Donga ngotwe chiade manzu chedan donga chog mebe toni. Donga ngotwe chiadi sungya samares. Manzu donga ngunzin tug mebadi. Ra manzu donga ti pile ya chik takta ji ngunzin tug mebadi sikchene manzu le ya donga ngotwe. Nenga di direndo as.
The Buddha, in his first teachings, created the basis, the foundation for the teachings in teaching the four truths, beginning with true suffering. And the reason for beginning with true suffering is not because the Buddha wanted to create more suffering for us, to make it painful for us. The reason that the Buddha spoke of true suffering is that we do not understand, we do not get what true suffering is.
다 동학기 동학ngotre chiwe kabdulaya 직 당보디 동학기 동학ngotre chiwe kalaya 당보디 동학기 직 ngodi gyu rangsin chinjin badi ro khoran gyu rangsin chinjin badi di ngotre chiwe das ro medaba.
And when the Buddha introduced the first truth, true suffering, he began with speaking of the nature of true suffering. He said that the nature of true suffering is change. They are impermanent.
Rada re bigi and medaba selana kanji gyu rangsin chinjin ba ro kinchinju jigtone ani gyudro yoba ro kinchinju jigtone muzoba yongde kinchinju jigtone duke shorde atindi tanganzo yungoras di ani kharesna manzu pigi gyu rangsin chin yimba di ani ngonzi matube wangi tanganzo duke shorgores.
This is the nature of true suffering, impermanent, a changeable thing. Often it just takes a small condition, a trivial conditions for a situation to change. And that indicates that nature of change. And yet when this small condition comes up and our situation changes, we become impatient. We cannot bear it. We lament, we cry out. So, but why does it happen that we become so distressed about a certain condition, small condition that comes up? Well, we become so distressed about it. We cry out because we do not recognize that nature of change.
아니 nganzu ta thuwaina ngunzin thuwaina 아니 gyuwa di togi 아니 nganzu la ya chi 아니 sem thugdo ya 아니 chi yora da di yungu ya samares.
If we do understand that nature of change, that it takes just a trivial condition for a certain situation to change, that phenomenon is not stable, it is a changeable phenomenon, Geshe reckons that a mind will not become distressed, not to the degree that it normally happens.
Tere di 아니 디피 nenga simbu ro nganzu ko yakbuji lebaina yakbuji dogina ko kun gyuwi rangshin chinjinza nganzu karsalta yakbuchaya yobati kun gyubatang yenza yakbuchaya yoba 아니 지 피게 gyutroya dia kun gyuwi rangshin chinjinba gyutrogu yoba dozo tsamalo nganzugi 아니 통두고 도스라.
This is such a vital point. If we hope for the best, if we have an expectation for something good to occur, we expect that because we recognize that it is in the nature of change. So if we come to recognize that whatever we hope for, whatever we seek is in the nature of change, we can enact positive changes.
Je tendito jita ngan tu droyer da and he
Dila
tendito
Chivasto.
do shy.
Yeah, Dila Chivasto.
Yeah.
All right, so Chris asked a question, just a second. So Chris said, in a way, even though we are looking after the body, we are searching for happiness. So in a way, we are very much aware we want to look after the mind because the quest for happiness is in the mind. And happiness, whether temporal or otherwise, is experienced by the mind. Tadi kurangi nganso kurangi nyama nganso tso di lu chiri chigi yoresin suimba. Den de labna in shula nganso semla dewa diki yoin chedu den de lula chiri chigi dus den de chigi dus akain sena. Den de luya wachawa ina senkyo yongi res and sangi resa. Chezen lu tso den de chena ya pesher so den de semla dewa yongi res and sangi marves.
Ah, semla dewa ina da dewa dugo res. Dewa yongya ki chedu luchi de chigyo da sigures. Ina ya luchi de chene ani chi lu yagi dro matu di ani David sablaya dunga yong dig doas. Tangi tso dilla gores.
Yeah, Geshe agrees with you, Chris, that we take care of the body. We care for the body and thinking that that will make me happy. So of course that is something that we expect to occur mentally, right? We take care of the body and thinking that mentally it's going to make me happy. But then when that doesn't happen on a physical level, when a body does not improve, when things do not get better with a body, a mind becomes unhappy.
Je ta lugi pigi chi lugi deji trianti lugi deji ki ta chi yangla do jre do ta dindi ki chashi trianti ani chi mi yu semla mi yu na ya di gi ani semla pen tok da ma do di ani tezum re do as ta.
So yeah, kind of physical pleasure and well-being is part of the big picture. It does give us some happiness and well-being, but whether or not a mind will be made happy, whether the body can contribute to mental happiness and well-being, it's still questionable. All right, so there's another question. Is meditation the best way to train the mind, and how can we best achieve observing the mind or thoughts to keep grounded in reality? Just the logic, the logic du so the yakshu the gong yagorbes. Ani the so sem temba nyesha yamena so samlo kare 용기염에 카레카레 당기염에 따고로 왔어. 그래서 셈라 카레카레 상기염에 뉴네츠 시에기 답 약쇼를 뵀어.
가르스월다. 저당 곰게디 타투온디다 아니 곰디때야디. 라 강심바디 곰디때야디 곰디때미 토니 아니 곰싱엠바 곰시 독자 말아줘라스 디교 땅고 거라스라 아주 곰게 쪼디 곰디때야 쪼디 곰시 독자디 아니 디교 땅에 들어왔어. 이는 디 공라야 아니 지 상초기 빼나 아니 무연의 신야 무연의 년야 디 름바 당부의 니비 돌아야 로고다스 그게 당부 아니 셰르게 단디 송디 당부 퇴바 되네 삼바 되네 곰바 아니 곰바 딜라야 아니 규림부 곰디때야 어딘디 송요레스.
When you look at it in a final sense, our meditation practice is designed in order to change our habits. This is the meaning of the word meditation in Tibetan. The word for meditation in Tibetan is gompa. And the meaning of gompa is nurturing habits. So what we want to do in our meditation practice is to decrease our negative habits, to change the negative habits that we have. And it takes time to do that. We're so used to certain habits that it will take some time until we can reduce them. So how can we change the negative habits that we have to developing positive habits? And this is the main mental training that we take up. But we do that through developing an insight into reality. And in order to be able to do that, first off, we need to study. Then we reflect. And then we come to a certain conclusion that we take on into a meditation session so that we create those habits in our mind. So there's like an ongoing process that needs to occur in a certain way in order to develop our wisdom, right? So we want to develop wisdom, first of all, through listening or studying a certain topic. Then we reflect upon it in order to come to a conclusion. And then we develop habits with that conclusion. That's the way that we proceed.
semlaya kang sambadi ani kang samgu yobadi samya dia chidang da ko digoras ine nganju semlaya rangshi kang sambadi ko sam debaina ko komde yujiras ra digi ani shujigi nganju ani sem yagi rutu dumundu tagodas ra nganju message majamaina ani message majamaina har yoshagyu 다가랑 대대바나 다가랑가 대대야지래 마도 야기 좀 말아왔어.
So then in terms of observing our mind, observing our thoughts, yeah, it's a good thing to do, but then you can become better in observing your mind and observing your thoughts. But still, you have those thoughts that have been occurring all along. And if you only observe them and you don't find new ways of nurturing positive states of mind, will you have a good basis for making improvement? Will there be a great sense of improvement that will occur if you don't introduce new ways of thinking? Geshe reckons that if you only observe your mind or thoughts, you will not make it's a good practice, but at the end of the day, your progress will not be a great progress.
다가서 곰견 곰시 독자 디 요당 마트나 아니 곰견 딘디디저 차고랬어. 곰세 차고랬어.
Well, if we don't change the negative habits that we have, if we just observe those negative habits, it would be like meditating on negative aspects, and that's about it. All right, so okay, so Christine asked the questions, but it says, cool, I think you both just answered, so I think that'll be cool. Which is, anyone else? Any other questions? People here? Grace, so we have a question here from the floor. All right, so why do we say that the body is in the nature of suffering and not that the wrong concept of the body is in the nature of suffering?
So lu dungengi danchin dresen lagrawa. Tang so lu chinchi lok zimba chi yorwa. Ja lu la chinchi lok zimba di yamana shukpa di dungengi danchin res malaba che lu gi dungengi danchin res lagi gimsin karinas.
Tereta lu telaya kazus ki pigleya chik yabu chewa inaya dur rodeg dosiko ti ko dungai ranshi imbu tengor sro ko di ko nguye nisro kazus ki chik kasa ta lulaya kar chewa ina ra anzu chik lu debu yonya chedu pena chik desaki ujigan dewa inaya ani kansam jelaya magiwa jiyung dosro ani chik khala ya uji chewa ina dinang nyogdama ushu chagdo as is a lu korang rangshin di chamandru wa jimba di nganzu do shimju chebana ani sortu ya rojre dos di chanita lu dunga rangshin res dilagores.
Well, we say that the body is in nature of suffering from the perspective of when we look at how we try to care for the body, how much or how well we try to take care of the body, whatever we do, we can see that at the end of the day, the body will decline. It's not that it's going to improve, it's still going to go from bad to worse. So it's not just the way that we think of the body is bad, or that erroneous idea of the erroneous awareness of the body is bad, but the body itself is in the nature of suffering from the perspective of whatever we do. If we provide the body with a comfortable seat, or we provide the body with food that is delicious or nutritious, at the end, it's not that the body is just going to go from, it's not going to get better and better. It's still going to go from bad to worse. So since this is within the nature of the body, that at the end, it will go from bad to worse. It's not going to improve. It is the very nature of the body that is the nature of suffering.
Teni tang lu korang ngon dindi chik chad lu dunga gran jeres niba ti lu ti kawal ten jungdus ra lu ti gyugel ten jongwainza lu ti kandajil ten jongdus la kyanan lava na shinki lu la ya shinjul du shu dengi samlu di wanki ani ta samlu dindi chik wanki ani zu lu chugo sares lut chugores tinza gyu chanina ani ko thamandi waji gyu chale teni yungu yoba lu korang ngon chanina thamandi waji kolai kaza kari cheja ba ya thamandi wa yongde rangshin dipiji ni zo to ne ani lut donga rangshin jeres lu korang ngon ngonjin chi ka tu la ya dilagores.
So what we're saying here is that, first of all, when you look at the nature of the body itself, it is in the nature of suffering. But there is another perspective that you can take on it. The second way of looking at it is from the perspective of the causes and conditions that gave rise to a body such as this. So what are the causes and conditions that contribute to a body such as this? In what way do we assume a body like that? Well, we end up in having a body such as this because, as you pointed out, we have wrong conceptions with respect to the body. So from this perspective of the causes that produce a body such as this, since the causes are involved with wrong conceptions with respect to the body, for example, the result that we get is a result in which there's nothing that it works perfectly for us. There's nothing that is always right for us. So from the point of view of causes, we can say that the causes are not good, but also from the perspective of the nature of the body, in that, as we said, it doesn't matter how well you try to care for the body, it will decline. So also within the nature of the body, it is in the nature of suffering. So the point that the thing that you pointed out, Grace, the erroneous conception that we have with respect to the body, actually this is the root of suffering. It is a cause of suffering, and because you could say that it is a cause of suffering, you can also say that it is suffering. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Just a second. I'm trying to multitask here because once again, I forgot to put the prayers on ready for the screen. So I'm kind of browsing through my folders in order to, I think I've found it, okay. So what we will do now is when we conclude the session with Geshe is we're going to do some dedication prayers. But before we go into dedication prayers, I just wanted to mention to everyone that we have a DB this weekend with Venerable Chuki, the mighty nun. So it's going to be on Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 or 9? From 9 to 12, and Venerable Chuki is going to teach about bodhicitta. So please come along and bring your parents, friends, relatives, and so forth. It's all about good-heartedness. And then next week, we're starting with Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life that will go every week from Tuesday to Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're going to have meditations, Geshe teachings, discussions, and tutorials. So, and Chenrezig Institute is offering that free of charge for everyone. So if you have the time, please come along. Now, if you want to get all the course materials, the text, transcripts, review questions, and so forth, you will have to contact the program coordinator, Kathy, bsp@chenrezig.com.au. All the course material will be made available on Dropbox. So please do not forget to register, because if you don't register, you don't get any of those course-related materials. So thank you very much for that. And now, sorry? Tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow morning. Apparently, we have teaching tomorrow morning. So Geshe will continue tomorrow morning at 10:30 in the morning with Lama Tsongkhapa's presentation of the Middling Lamrim. So come along and be merry. Thank you. I'm just going to put on the screen the dedication prayers. All right, let's rock and roll.
Sorry. How are you? Good.
Sorry? There's some food that's been
All right.
I don't know if we're unmuted. Are we?
Sorry?
Are we unmuted?
We are not unmuted. Should I finish the session or what do you reckon?
There's still some people waiting to say hello. I think. Anyway, hello. It might be hello, goodbye. Not sure.
Thank you.
Ah, now I can hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chucky. Thank you, Carson.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Geshe.
Hey, Julie.
Thank you, Venerable Carson.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Hey, Ross. Oh, it's very echoey. Bye. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.